Hello everyone and welcome to our live coverage from Android Open. I'm Max Slocum. My first guest today is Sean Byrnes, CTO and co-founder of Flurry Inc. Sean, thank you very much for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
What are the most important mobile metrics?
It's a hard question because a lot of the metrics you would care about as a mobile developer depend on how you make money. So if you make money off of in-app purchases, you care about how often do people buy things and how much do they buy them for. If you make money off advertising, you care about how many impressions you're showing and how much money you're making off those impressions. I think the only generalizable metrics that I could talk about are engagement. The market's gotten to the point where it's mature enough and there's so many mobile apps out there that what really matters is how are you engaging with your users? Once you acquire them, do they stick around? And if they do, how long? How active do they stay? And engagement is becoming more and more important as people think about mobile apps as more than just an interesting marketing channel, but as a business. So if I'm acquiring a user for $1, I really need to know, am I going to make $2 off that user, or $3, or am I going to make 50 cents, and in doing so, not really have a business on my hands? So engagement becomes really important, and one of the things we do at Flurry as part of our analytics package is try to help people understand those engagement metrics, and then that then contributes their ability to drill down and analyze in-app purchases or advertising, or whatever it is that they're interested in making money doing.
Are there metrics within the engagement metric itself? Are we talking about how many times they access the app, how long they're actually in the app?
There are, and in fact, just yesterday we announced a new suite of features for our analytics product called Flurry Analytics 3.1, which allow you to look at the life cycle of users. So everybody's active on day 0 because that's when they install the app. How many people stick around on day 1, day 2, after a week, after a month? And understanding, that entire life cycle of users, and then within that life cycle, how active are they? A lot of people will install a new app and use it a lot in the first few days, and then trail off over time. And understanding that is not just important to know how long you'll hold on to the user, but what can you do to keep that user coming back? At what points in that life cycle do you have to re-engage with the user? Show them something new, show them something fresh, give them a reason to come back. As well as what are they doing during that period? Like I'll give you a basic example. Let's say you have a game. You want to measure not just does somebody get to level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. How long does it take them to get to those levels? Does somebody get to level 3 in 1 week, level 4 takes 2 weeks, and level 5 takes 4 weeks? Maybe those levels are too difficult. Or maybe a user is just getting tired of the same mechanic. You have to show them something different as the game progresses.
Interesting. So what are the key differences between traditional web analytics and mobile analytics?
It's interesting. At the end of the day, the questions are always the same, right? If you're running a business, you want to make money. How am I making money? In mobile, though, unlike the web, the strategy most companies are using is a portfolio strategy. You have lots of apps. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of apps in all the different app stores that are out there. So a lot of cases, it's not enough to just bet everything on a single app. People will have a portfolio strategy. That's not just a gaming company with hundreds of games. Content companies have different vertical apps for different specific narrow verticals. And you have to think about it as an entire portfolio, a little bit like you're managing your stock portfolio. These apps have this percentage rate of return, these apps have this chance of success. And a lot of what we do at Flurry is help people think about their entire portfolio and how to leverage that. So for example, cross-selling strategies. How do I cross-sell between this successful app, my other apps in my portfolio, to try and rise the entire portfolio and not bet everything on a single app, which honestly can get drowned out in this market of hundreds of thousands of other applications.
Now from a metrics perspective, where do tablets fit in? Are they lumped in with mobile? Are they their own class?
They started out being lumped in with mobile. I think that's changing because at the very beginning, when the iPad first launched, most of the apps people were using on the iPad, for example, were iPhone apps. And then with the Android tablets, the same is true because people hadn't had enough time to understand what is a tablet experience and build those tablet applications. Now that you see the more Android tablets hitting the market and tablets are becoming their own use case, it's becoming a specific segment in and of itself. For example, we see that users are using tablet applications a number of times longer than a typical phone application, as you'd expect, because you're sitting on the couch or you're sitting on the bus using your tablet. On the flip side, though, you use less applications. You don't use as many applications on your tablet. Largely, again, it's because you're there to consume something. You're there to do a specific task, read a book, watch a video, do something like that. So it's becoming its own category. I think the interesting thing about tablets, from my perspective in analytics, is that I don't think the formula has been established. You've seen a lot of interesting experiments. Flipboard has a fantastic tablet experience. It's very tablet-centric. But I don't think anybody's cracked the nut as to specifically what does it mean to be hugely successful in tablets. What do you use to drive volume of in-app purchases? How do you make a lot of money off advertising? There's a lot of good ideas and there's a lot of things out there, but I feel it's a lot like the early days of the smartphone revolution where people were trying a lot of stuff, but that formula wasn't identified. Which, going back to engagement again, is, as this market heats up, if you're going to get into the tablet market today, you want to do it in a way that you can retain these users long term.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a flash in the pan as the market's growing up. So as part of that, you have to think about your entire strategy of your tablet applications. And then how do you work with their phone applications? Because honestly, people that have tablets also have smartphones.
Yeah.
And very few times is it, I just want this device over here and that device over there, and I want them to be separate.
Yeah.
A lot of times the successful applications join the two together.
That's a good point. So last question I have for you. There seems to be kind of a rare moment for engagement when you've got, when a consumer updates an app. Mm-hmm. Do you see opportunities there? I mean, is that being used?
That's 100% true, and to be honest with you, app developers that are successful have an updating strategy in place before their app hits the market. So before that app goes live, you already have a strategy of how often you're going to update, how is those updates going to add incremental value to the consumer. It can't be too fast, or else users will just get tired of updating.
Yeah.
But it needs to be fast enough that you hit them during this period of engagement. So going back to life cycle, you look at your metrics, you see when does user interest start to drop. That's where you want to hit them with an update. Hit them with something new, something they haven't seen before, an improvement that will enhance their experience, give them a reason to come back. If you can do it quite right, it's a little bit like booster rockets, where if you hit them at the right points in the user engagement, you can make that user into a long-term user and essentially get them into orbit where they'll keep coming back and hopefully tell their friends, and their friends will keep updating, and it becomes a virtuous cycle.
Right. Well, thanks so much for doing this. Really
thanks for having me.